What do you think of the packaging?
Yeah, it looks pretty clean.
With their nails done.
Alright, so we have the decided head unit for the 8th generation Civics. This also works for the Acura CX and stuff like that, or the Honda CX. So why don't you go open it, tell me how you feel.
Alright.
What do you think of the packaging?
Yeah, it looks pretty clean. Not too hard to open.
Ooh.
Everything seems to be pretty organized.
Look at all that foam. They give you a lot of foam. Oh, take out the packaging.
Yeah. So should I just...
Oh, you can just put it right here, just upside down. Oh, take it out of the bag. You want to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that. So they have a little screen protector on it still. Well, like, what are these buttons? AC and...
Yeah. AC and the volume.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Wait, this is volume right here?
I think this is the power. Oh, no, the emergency light.
Oh, the hazard button.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then this is the volume, and this is the AC.
Oh, I want to see how that works.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's see the back of the unit. Okay, so yeah, you have all the vents and stuff. This head unit's a little bit more integrated because of the shell. It's gonna be really interesting how it's gonna line up. Looks like these are held like screws. This is probably HVAC system, and then you have the hazard. This is usually these vents like this is for climate control too, like a sensor to see how much if your car is cold or not, and that's where your auto temperatures. But yeah, let's walk into your car and kind of compare how it looks like. Walking in, this is what we're gonna replace. This is actually just fan control speed, and then you got your temperature. So interesting how it looks. The color is actually very close. It looks like it will match the interior. It's a good thing they picked this color. I know I've seen some colors are silver and stuff, but this color, it looks like it matches really well with the interior of the rest of your car. So it'd be well integrated. As far as try to see it so it kind of points to you, because the screen is kind of like morphed, so it points to the driver. So kind of like this. Oh, let me hold it. Yeah, wow, that's a big difference. This screen, the way it extrudes out, is pretty massive. Wow, it's gonna be a big difference. What do you think?
I think I already like the way it looks on my car, even though like we haven't like proven that.
Yeah, I'm really surprised with the color. That's important, because when you buy aftermarket head units, it's not gonna have this. It's gonna look like just a rectangle.
Yeah.
But now you're gonna have Android Auto. You're gonna have wireless Apple CarPlay, wired Apple CarPlay for your iPhone, because I know you're an iPhone user. So you're gonna have more USBs. So if you want to charge your phone or whatever, you have 3 instead of this one. Doesn't, I don't think even has it. Then you get like GPS, Wi-Fi, and stuff like that. So you're gonna definitely be able to make this. What year is this car? 2008, 2010?
2010, yeah.
So 2010, and we're bringing it to 2019 standards. So that's gonna be great.
Right.
Even the new 2019 Civic doesn't have like Android Auto, or even, I'm not sure if they have wireless Apple CarPlay. So this car is going to be even newer than the newer Civics.
Yeah, and not only the color, but I feel like the material, it feels pretty solid. I mean, I don't know much about cars and stuff,
but even if you feel like this, it's not like a flimsy plastic. It's like, it is plastic, but it's not like a cheap plastic where it might sometimes you feel like this and you're like, okay, that might break, because stuff like this, and like kind of like this, it's more like premium. So that's definitely going to be interesting. So let's take it apart and move on from there.
Okay.
Turn it on. Don't turn the car on, but have it on the on position, and then move this to we're gonna have to move all this out. So let's put this into first gear. Make sure it's on the e-brake. No, have it on the e-brake,
okay.
and just shift it into gear.
To
one. Then you can turn it off. Make sure. Yeah, we're good. So this will give us clearance when we're removing it. You can turn off your car now. You can take it out.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, you can't take it out. Press the brakes. It might not make you. It might not let you take it out.
No.
Okay, just leave it like that.
Okay.
All right, so there's a little panel right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's little 2 notches you can little pick at right here. We're gonna use this plastic tool, so it'll prevent damaging the thing itself. When you open like this, it just pops right out. I just like using my wrist to twist. That way I'm not damaging anything. And this is gonna reveal 2 8mm bolts. The bolts are faced this way, and that's what holds this plastic trim in. So here's a little bolt right here. You can see there's a little washer and an 8. So it is an 8. The only thing is it's really an awkward position. So I use this little tool. So you don't need this tool, but we use this tool to basically grab on to the spot right here. Beep, but we pretty much have to just remove these panel pieces and remove the whole top. And to do that, make sure there's no coins in here. And you should be able to just pull. You can either use your hand to pull. That's one. Head. Whole thing is out. So we have that out. Try to get the angle here. So we're gonna pretty much remove all these plugs for the HVAC system, hazard buttons. If you aren't sure where it goes, I highly recommend taking a picture of it. So that's going to do a little more clearance. Okay, but be very careful, especially like right this part. So plastic on plastic, it does wear a little bit, but metal on plastic, that's going to do some damage. So be careful with the metal bracket. Do you have that towel?
Let me grab it.
I just want to have it set on your shift knob. You can use it to prevent it from scratching too. Yeah, just place it like right here. Yeah, just place it like right here. Okay, that way. Have it rest on that. Okay, that was easy. Oh yeah, then we have the HVAC one. So there you go. We have the head unit out. It's pretty heavy, but we still need to transfer the HVAC systems. So we're gonna unscrew these 4 bolts. The hazard has 2 bolts. The passenger airbag light is another 2 bolts. And then the fans are actually another 3 bolts. So we're gonna unscrew that. And yeah, we'll do that right now. That's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not gonna show that off exclusively, but you just do this. Oh, let's make sure we have the thinner one. Do not strip these bolts, these little screws, and we just slightly unscrew them. My tool is slightly broken though, so yeah. So we're gonna unscrew all the things that's holding the buttons in.
Oh, it's good.
Okay, so today we're gonna be looking more into the wiring. We just removed the OEM head unit, so you have HVAC, seat belt light, hazard button, but you know the radio only deals with these 3 wires. This is the base model Civic. This is not an EX Touring or whatever, so this is going to handle most of the work.
Now the SITA comes with a plug-and-play harness for your Honda Civic, CR-V, CX, and stuff like that. It's gonna be this little bad boy. And what's nice is you don't have to splice anything, you just plug it in. So let's see, we'll plug in this with this, hopefully, and it should fit. It fits, yes. The next off is this little bad boy. And these usually, you know, steering wheel controls, or I don't know particular this one, but powers the rear speakers and so forth. So we got that plugged in. And then lastly, this is the radio antenna. So those are the three things that were coming out the OEM head unit, and now we got it. It's there, it works, it's great. From here, all you have to do is plug in this black wire into this unit right here. And you are pretty much set, as well as finishing off the adapter for the radio. And boom, we are done here. Like this is like working. This is going to be able to work. So we're gonna have it kind of fit here nicely. Now the fitment, I'm just hoping it doesn't require cutting or shaving, but as it sits like right here, it's pretty impressive. Now we're still removing the HVACs and we're gonna transfer it over, but before we do all of that, we are gonna test the car. Put it back. All right. So this is the first boot up. I'm hoping it works. We're gonna keep the screen protector on there. Ooh, so that's a good sign. That means all the power is getting to the head unit. Ooh, Honda logo. You can change this logo too. So if you're looking to change it to Acura or Lamborghini, you can do the Lamborghini Civic, you know, maybe it's something like. But so our first initial boot up, we should see if the sound works, the Bluetooth and stuff like that. So here's the head unit. Now this is the Decida Max 6, so this is the top spec Android head units. Not all Android head units are made equally. So this one has the better DSP, this one has the better audio processor, 64 gigs of RAM of internal storage, and like 6 gigs of RAM or something like that. So this is more of the top of the line stuff. And looks like it's working. And audio is working. So I'm gonna try Bluetooth right now, and then we're gonna try like Apple CarPlay and so forth. Okay, so to hook up Bluetooth real quick, we go to Bluetooth, and I have my phone right here. Go to your Bluetooth settings. What's the pin code? The pin code from the factory is 0000. Very easy. So now it's plugged in, so we can import our contact list and so forth. To go to Bluetooth audio as a source, you click on A2DP, and I have how to do a Civic install because I was watching that earlier, and then we can also play music. So yeah. It's working, and it actually sounds really crispy. So that's a start. Now what we can do here is we can install the USBs, the GPS, the Wi-Fi. We know the Bluetooth works. Let's make sure the radio works and stuff forth like that. So we're gonna plug in all the rest of the cables and make sure that works from here. Right, so we're just gonna install the Wi-Fi antenna because this is the full install. We just gotta get every nook and cranny. We have the GPS, the microphone and stuff like that. So we're gonna install the GPS. Remember, you can route this GPS on top of your dash. In my installs, especially because it's quick and easy to remove after, I just put it right here. So that's where I'm gonna put it. I'm just gonna put it right on top. There is a little adhesive tape, so we're gonna do that in a bit, but let's install that. Because I feel like this thing alone can penetrate through this plastic. That's the only thing that's against, like, you don't really need a sight. And most people too, this is like for emergencies. Generally people just use the Apple CarPlay maps and stuff like that anyways. But I really have no issues with it installed right here. So I'm just gonna install it. I don't really want to block too much of the words, but I want to get it deep enough where the wires are still kind of tucked. So we have GPS, Wi-Fi, we have the radio plugged in. Now the most important thing with this car is my cousin right there. He loves his iPhone, and he likes Apple CarPlay, so that's one of the main attractions. So we're gonna hook him up with some USBs. This also has wireless Apple CarPlay, so he doesn't need to, but let's say if he was charging his car or something like that. So this is gonna give him some power. And what I like to do personally is I like to snake this over into the glove box. That way you get that nice clean install. You know, you want it nice and clean, all the wires hidden. So so we're gonna see, it's definitely a tight fit, but it's gonna be worth it if I can get my little hands in here. So I got one USB in and then two. That way no one sees this, but if he needs to charge, his friends need to charge, he has two USBs right then and there. But you also get an extra USB too. This one's called the cable B line. We're gonna also put that in, so now he's gonna have a total of 3 USBs. And this might be faster charging than his AC cigarette lighter he has right here. So he does have a cigarette lighter, so we can control, you can measure amps with certain apps too. So, bam, 3 USBs. To finish it off, we have some audio line in and out, aux and camera VIN. Now this car itself does not have a backup camera, but you could put a backup camera onto this. So the only thing that is a camera is it just uses this yellow composite cable. So any kind of camera that uses composite cable, like a RCA jack yellow composite, it would work. And we could do that, but for this install, it is kind of timely. You would have to wire basically a wire from here, and you route it all the way to the back of the car and putting a camera. Now I've done that for the Scion TC, so if you guys were looking to see how to like wire it, you can do that. But in this case, we're not going to do that in here. So we're gonna plug in the brown wire. There's actually labels that show you which to which. We're doing this because I want him to retain at least the aux cable. So we're just gonna plug that in. So you know how there's a RCA. So if he was trying to use aux for some reason, he can actually just go to the video input and then listen to the left and right channels of the aux. So that's good. And for people asking if there's RC jacks for subwoofers, so here's a little detail. There's the mid RCA, sub, we have rear. Basically it's a line out. Okay, yeah, it's a line out. So we're almost done with everything. There's only one thing we have to do left, and that's going to be the microphone. Now this head unit does have a microphone in the front, so you can just use this. But if you were just trying to get that extra microphone crispiness for it, you know, you can install one of these bad boys and your microphone's gonna sound a little bit more crispy. So we're gonna do that too in this case, and we're gonna have it just kind of wired through this skeleton shell. If I can, is it even clear? So you just have to find little like spaces, little creaks and cracks, and fish it through. And there's a little plug right here, like a headphone jack, and you plug it into here, the 3.5. Now whether the owner wants, so make sure I usually put this on the steering wheel. It's kind of discreet that way, but make sure it's not dusty, because that's gonna make it so it doesn't stick. I usually have it something like this. Let's fish the wires up a little bit more. I usually have it like this, but I don't know if that's a little bit too intrusive for him. So we can also wire it to the side too. We'll get your opinion on that. Where do you prefer your microphone?
Microphone?
Yeah, for like talking.
Oh, maybe as close to the steering wheel as possible.
Yeah, that's what we're planning to do. Come over here.
Yeah.
So there's two ways that you can do it. I have the wire kind of snaking right here. So we can either have it right here, which is kind of like you're easy to see, but this will be the clearest. You do have the vents and stuff uninstalled in the previous one, and look at this. It's gonna be super easy because it's just a bolt. Like you just screw in those two things. Same with the AC thing, or the interesting. This airbag, I'm not sure if we're gonna reuse that because it's kind of blocking even now. But then we're gonna use the HVAC and stuff like that. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The tricky part right here is the HVAC. After you remove the bigger screws and even the little small screws right here, what you have to do is you literally just have to push it really hard, and these little knobs come straight out. You just have to be a little more aggressive. As I push this down, it's gonna put weight and it's gonna equally distribute the pressure around the whole thing, and they push off. That's probably the safest way to do it, and that's what I would recommend you guys to do. Push it off. So, and then you can put the knobs back in, but we're gonna put these knobs back in when the car is, well, it's gonna be when we put the other head unit in there. It's recording. All right, so we have everything screwed in here. We have 1, 2, 3 for the vent. We have 1, 2 for the hazard. And then we have the HVAC controls right here as well. Now, one thing that we don't have is this little puppy right here. It's the passenger airbag that usually slots in kind of in this general vicinity, but the screen's so massive that it blocks it. Now, you can still keep this plugged in. It's just telling you that your airbag's off. He doesn't even have the auto control for auto climate control, so you could kind of like do it like this, so at least some light comes through here. That is a possibility, but in our case, we're not gonna do anything like that. We're just gonna plug it and just leave it in the back and forget about it. But yeah, so this is kind of how the head unit looks like with it in. Oh, we forgot the little caps. So then you get the caps on top of this too, and we're gonna secure it in a bit, but yeah. Look at that, the fitment is insane. Like, look at that, that's like super precision cut right there. The vents, super in there. That's really amazing to have a shell like this and to have a fitment like that. So all is not dandy yet. We have to make sure it fits, but yeah, it is looking pretty good right now. Snap these things in real quick, looking beautiful. Now we're gonna plug everything in. Now I already have all the wiring plugged in here, so the rest is almost like Lego pieces. The main power ISO goes in here, followed by the antenna. Notice the clearance issue, so this is where you have to get real tight. We have this is gonna handle aux, so I still give an aux support. The USB, this is one of the single USBs, followed by the dual USBs that we hooked them up earlier with. And then we have the microphone. That makes sense. Get that microphone hooked up. And that's it. But now you also have to remember we're gonna have to hook up a few other things, like the HVAC controls and stuff like that. So give me a second. I'm trying to find the where did I put the airbag one?
Oh, on your leg, on your feet.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna plug in this right here. This doesn't really tell you much. It's more like a little safety thing, so we can just plug that in so it doesn't bother us. So the car still knows it's plugged in. And then gotta get real tight. Real tight. Plug in the AC because it's hot. Then you have to get real tight into here. I can't see. Clear the steering wheel. Clear the turn signal stock. Everything is plugged in here. We're just gonna slowly fish things back. Pushing all the wires out of the way. There's a lot of wires because we just basically put a bunch of functionality into this car. All right, to remove these clips, you just kind of pull it. Be careful because they're plastic and it just pops out. I'll do another demonstration. So you grab it, hook it, be slow with it, and you pop it out. All right, so I know there was one right here. So we're just transferring the clips over. transferring the clips over. That way it really sticks on. We get that good fitment. Alright, so on the OEM unit, you have these little metal brackets that we didn't transfer over. So we're gonna do that as well to remove it. I'm gonna see if I can do this with one hand. You just have to bend the little metal tab right here, and then you should be able to just pull it out. Yeah. Can you hold it real quick? So I'm just gonna bend it like this, and it just slides out. And then you have to, because you bent it out, you wanna push it back in. This spot faces outwards, and you push it back in here. Boom. Yes. Okay, looks like everything is in. The fitment right here, again, the fitment right here, it was like 80%. Now it's looking a little bit better. It's not perfect yet because we don't have the top one yet, but that's how it sits. It sits really nice right here. Only if it was able to just stick a little bit more in. I'm hoping when we put the rest in, it might fix it a little bit more, but it looks good. And the OEM one, it didn't look 100%. It looked like 98, 99%, but this one's looking like a good, 90% fitment wise. So let's put in the other pieces and we should be good to go. But before that, let's test it out, make sure it works, because I don't want to do that again. Oh, turn signal.
Turn what?
Move the turn signal. Turn signal. Okay. So hazards are working earlier. AC is working. Yes, very good. Then we have the head unit itself. Let's check out some audio, make sure it works. I'm not sure if it's still hooked to my phone. So we're just clearing it, making sure things are fitting. It's a pretty pain in the butt. Yep, we're just, what do you think? Look at this. Compare this to this. It's actually very close. Actually, this one actually looks brand new. This one looks like the paint got faded over time.
So, yeah.
But it's 9 years old, so. This car held up. I was working on a Camry in my last video, and the dash, like this piece, it was the whole thing was like this. It was like flaking. It was very weird. And this is plastic, right? I don't understand how this thing was turned into this. It was disgusting. Things are just coming together. Yeah, for this head unit to be around $400 to $500, I definitely would recommend. For Android Auto and Apple CarPlay alone, that's really worth it. You go to a Pioneer route and your screen's like this big and it's low resolution, and you still have to buy the kit because you still have to buy this part for the head unit too. And it's just you're spending a lot of money. Took off was this thing, so going back. You could actually wire some USBs right here too, because they're a little hole. Could be kind of nice. There you go, and we're done here. So let's start the car again. Let's close the door. We're gonna actually start the car, make sure everything works.
Ooh, I like the logo.
Yeah. So usually you see this when your car has been off for a long time. And let's just remove this thing.
Just satisfying.
So we have his phone hooked up and everything. Yeah, things are looking good. You have to go.
John did the installation. You were sleeping, so no. I'm just kidding. Where you want to go?
So we finished the install. It's looking great. Remember, we can change this interface, make it look a little bit different too, depending on what his Mr. Adams' personal taste is. So how do you feel about this head unit you've been playing with for the last 15-20 minutes?
Yeah, so it's actually better than expected to be, because you know, aftermarket head units, I used to think that it couldn't be, you know, as smooth and looking like fit in everything, kind of nice like this color and everything. So yeah, I think I love it. Especially the only reason why I decided to get it, because I like the minimalistic look of the Carplay.
I know from your view, it looks like everything's very cohesive. You know, like from the driver's side, even the screen is slightly tilted towards him.
Yeah.
So you can see it.
And then the Carplay is the main reason.
Pretty easy. Again, we just hook up to Bluetooth. It actually automatically changed to Z-Link when the Bluetooth was hooked up, and now it's doing the handshake. So what happens is the Bluetooth basically handshakes back, and then his phone turns into a hotspot. So the hotspot transfers all the data over, and he can still use a cellular to transfer to data. So now we're getting a Wi-Fi connection, and it does take a minute to basically handshake over. Oh, dude, this guy going on. You got some. I didn't know you like Eminem. This guy, everyone.
I love Eminem.
All right, so yeah, so that's the head unit. Anything you want to say about the install process? You saw it was fairly straightforward and easy.
Yeah, only the hardest part I think was to take off the screws on this part right here. But once we got through it, the rest was pretty easy. Even though, you know, I don't know a lot of stuff about car and stuff, but fairly easy. If I can do it, you guys can do it.
Cool. Anyways, that's a wrap. If you guys were looking to buy this Honda Civic 2010 head unit, this also works for anything that has this kind of design. So I know that in some markets called this CX, the Acura CX or the Honda CX and stuff like that, you'd be able to fit it like this. It was pretty easy. The only thing that we did lose was the airbag, because the airbag light was right here. We just removed it. It's just basically in the back now. So if I sit, I don't know if the airbag's off, but obviously it should be on. Other than that, yeah. Links down below on where you can buy it. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one.